Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, the England Cricket Podcast, England Watch, where we break down everything that's going on with England cricket. We've got glasses on, we're ready to go. And we've been working through a plethora of depth charts around English cricket, the top 10 openers, middle order players, who could bat at three, who's the wicket keepers, all-rounders. And now we're getting stuck into what is possibly the hardest role within the English cricket team, the spinner. How are we, Rich?
I'm good. This is. I think we can safe to say this is not our specialist subject.
No.
Neither of us are spinners. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a difficult one. You've got your big wigs at the top, but trying to fill it out, and we're going with a top 8 here. We didn't feel a top 10 was quite appropriate for a spinner when sometimes we take Joe Root, as you called out, as our front choice spinner. So it's an underrated art in this England team, and it's something that county cricket hasn't really supported the development of over the years. But we feel like we've got a decent 8, plus our usual noticeable mentions. Yay!
Exactly, yeah. And I'm just suddenly panicked as you said Joe Root. Where would Joe Root be on this list, genuinely, if we just considered Joe Root and just said, Joe Root, spinner, England don't want to go with an actual spinner? That's a tough one. I don't think we need to answer it, but that's quite an interesting one to just throw into the mix, isn't it? So, yeah, let's have a look at some. So before we get into the list, we know who's number one. We always do this, don't we? The number one is the man in possession, the incumbent. It's Jack Leach. So if you're waiting to see where Jack Leach will come, you're going to have to wait till the end because he is number one at the moment. So notable mentions. I'm going to start with one of my dear, fondness players, Matthew Critchley, the all-rounder. Rob don't think he's an all-rounder. I think he is. He's a leggy. He's 25 now. He's at Lancashire. He was at Derbyshire. He's a very, very good player, very good cricketer. He's become more of a batting all-rounder than a bowling all-rounder, but he did start through the England age groups as a leggy, and I think he's still got a lot of talent to unlock. Keeping it on that, obviously you jump in a minute, Rob, but keeping it on that, a young spinner, Rayan Ahmed. He starred in the under-19s for England recently. He's only 17, Nottingham born, but he plays over at Leicestershire. He made his debut this last week, so he's somebody we really need to keep an eye on. And keeping it in Nottingham, Liam Patterson-White, 23-year-old spinner who can also bat very, very capably. He's averaging about 25 with a bat in 26 innings so far, 104 50s to his name, and 67 wickets at an average of 26 as well. I think he's another very, very good ascending player.
Excellent players, mate. Patterson-White's such a great call. He's having a superb 2022. He's got 4 5-wicket hauls for Nottinghamshire since 2019 in his stats. Whenever I'm talking through stats, Rob, always talking 2019 to 2022, give you a 3.5-year window to see what they're doing. And I don't take in all the university matches, just what they're doing in the county championship. But Patterson-White, exceptional shout. Rayan Ahmed, interesting one. We spoke about him on the county pod, which we went out on Monday. We recorded 5 minutes before we just started this one. But he was brilliant in the World Cup. 4 for against UAE, 4 for against South Africa, 4 for against Afghanistan, none for 32 in the final, I think it was, against India. Exceptional player, and we're going to start seeing him some county cricket. And he's probably at a good county to get a bit of game time. Leicestershire in a really poor position. They're not doing very well with bat or ball or results. Gives them a chance to blood some players.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've been talking about this, I'm already starting to think, I don't think we've given Liam Patterson-White enough credit because he's had an exceptional summer so far, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But it has to be said, this list is not just what we think. It's that combination of what we think, how they've been doing, and also what we think England think about them. Now, I'm not saying that they don't rate Patterson-White, but we think there might be players on their radar ahead of Patterson-White. I think on my list, I think he's just jumped about 4 spots, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But hey, look, we'll do this again at another point, and we'll see where he is at that point. But yeah, I think that's some really good notable mentions. Liam Dawson as well was just another one, wasn't it, that we wanted to mention. He's played some cricket for England. I'm sure in a pinch, if they needed a spinner, they'd go to someone with experience, wouldn't they? Probably over an Ahmed or a Patterson-White at this moment in time. But that list, or that who would get the nod ahead of the others would change rapidly, I'd imagine, as we get through the next year or so. So that's a few notable mentions. I'm sure we've missed one or two, so it'd be great to know
Felix
if we
Organ,
had.
probably one that...
Felix Organ.
Sneakily good statistics, mate, actually. He hasn't bowled that much, so there's not a huge body of work. There's 21 innings he's bowled in since 2019 in County Championship cricket. In that time, mate, 28 wickets, an average of 20.0 7. And
Whoa.
here's a sneaky stat that I really like about it. No balls, no wides. Good control. 15% of the team wickets. His bowling strike rate's 41.11. The team strike rates in the games and innings that he's bowled in is 64. So he's way above that. And 4 3-wicket hauls with a 2.93 economy rate. Just to give you a baseline. So from 2019 to 2020, spinners in county championship cricket are averaging 34.34 with the ball. There's the word. The bowling strike rate is 69 and the economy rate is 2.98. So you're basically looking along those lines. And his performance in that time is one of the best going around, although the body of work isn't like a frontline spinner.
Yeah, I mean, to credit to him, he's ended up kicking out one off this list out on loan, hasn't he? He's become the main spinner as it stands at the moment for Hampshire. So there's some really good players on this list. I'm sorry, not even on the list, on the notable mention section, Appendix 2 list, as this probably is in our minds now. But yeah, I think this list could change rapidly in the next year or so as we're talking about it. But let's get into it. We've done an 8, haven't we, Rob? So let's get that underway. So number 8, we've gone with Danny Briggs, 31-year-old. He's a solid player, isn't he? He's making the move over to Warwickshire. Vastly experienced. He's got one ODI under his belt. He's got the 7 T20s. First class record, 127 appearances, Rob. 316 wickets at an average of 34. 13 4-wicket haul, 8 5-wicket hauls. And with the bat, it's a pretty good record. Well, he's got 100. He's got 120 not out, but he does average 18, so a little bit lower on the average, but a decent all-round cricketer. I think he's on this list because he's been in the England setup previously and because he's a consistent player week in, week out, year after year.
He is very consistent year on year. His stats are actually better than what, that first-class range of his whole career gives him credit for. There's 46 wickets at an average of 31 in the 29 innings he's bowled since 2019 in county cricket, which is very, very good. Bowling strike rate at 71 is a little high. 4 4-wicket hauls, 4 3-wicket hauls, but great control. 2.67 economy rate. I'm a huge fan of spinners that, one, can either take wickets or, two, can either fill the role of economy rate. And this guy definitely does it. So we come up with a system called Performance Plus for bowlers here. Essentially, 100 as your bowling average means you take it at a league average. 100 at economy means you go at the same rate as economy rate as a league average, and same with strike rate. Add them together, you've got your Performance Plus. He's got a Performance Plus of 316, so he's above average league spinner. England player, Test cricket, it's really hard to see, but this is where you get to with the depth charts, and you've got these guys who are probably different ends of the spectrum and different ends of the career. The ones that are going to be working the way downs, and guys like Liam Patterson Whites that will start working the way up over time.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get straight on to number 7. This is a cricketer I think we both like, but I think he's struggled over the last few years. And we've already mentioned Felix Organ at Hampshire. Because he's batting up the order, he's taken this role from Mason Crane. And that's the next man on the list. He's played for England. He's still only 25, but like I say, he has had a bit of a struggle. He's played the solo test match. He got 1 wicket for not the nicest 193 in that game. 2 T20 internationals as well, just 1 wicket for him. But he's played 51 first-class games, 124 wickets, an average of 42. The stats don't shout yes. Not a hell of a lot to report with the bat. It doesn't have any 50s to his name as of yet. It's a little bit of a strange one, isn't it? Because we think England will still like Mason Crane. I think they think there's a cricketer in there, and I think they want to kind of delve back in and get to him. As we disclaim every time we do this, we don't know what the new setup's going to want. We don't know if they still fancy the same players or if it's completely discarded and they're moving forward with in a different direction. It could be that they think Liam Patterson White is the next thing, and Mason Crane is nowhere near. But Mason Crane has been around the England setup. They clearly like him. He's just not had the best of runs of late. He's gone back to Sussex, the county of his birth, to see if he can play a bit more regular cricket. It could be a good move for him. Sussex need a bit of experience, don't they? And it could be good for him, rather than being a promising young spinner, to go into a place where he becomes more of an experienced player and he's got to help some of those younger players along. So a difficult analysis really for Mason Crane, but I think he deserves to be on this list. And which way it goes after this is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those players. he got a test debut way too early,
Yes.
but also probably falls foul of county cricket wickets we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years, which are
Mm,
the most bowler seam friendly there has been. Putting in that the ball, the weather, the pitch. Since I started making records, since ball by ball stats came available in
mm,
1996, like it's just incredibly ball focused. This year, we're seeing the return of the bat and also a few spinners near the top of the order, so that's really good. So, probably missed out on a lot of quality game time development during that time. In essence, that means he's bowled 32 innings over the last 3.5 years, 47 wickets at an average of 36. The problem that strikes me here, one, he's got 8 3 wicket hauls in that time. So there's a level of consistency of taking wickets, 1.47 wickets per innings. But his economy rate is 3.74, which is very high for
mm,
someone on this list. And that's what really holds him back from
mm,
almost being a league average. But his strike rate, taking wickets, is 20% better than league
mm,
average. He takes it at
mm,
58.77. So wicket taking, leg spinner, struggles for control. It's a theme, a pattern, a story we've seen many a time with a young leg spinner. How do you get better at that? Bowling, opportunities. Hopefully,
mm,
something better's on the horizon because there's a great cricketer in there, and the fact that he's been picked and played for England means there's a great
mm.
cricketer there, and there's so
Yeah.
much potential. You just hope part of it hasn't been ruined by not getting enough game time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another reason why I think he's on this list as well is I think he's going to get exposure in the right places. He's going to play T20. He's going to play 100 probably. I think he's involved in that. He's a decent name, isn't he? So he gets exposure. And if he can perform during this white ball part of the summer, even if it's just in the Royal London One Day Cup, whatever he might be doing, he gets himself forward, doesn't he? He's going to catch eyes. He's going to take wickets in all formats. Especially when people are going hard at spinners, which is what spinners like to see sometimes, isn't it? So I think he keeps himself relevant throughout the year, and we shall see. It'd be really, like I said, really, really interesting to see which way he goes on this list in the next year. I'd hope it's going up, but it's over to him, really, isn't it? More bowling, the better. The man he has gone to Sussex to replace because of injury is Jack Carson. He's only 21. He had a breakout year last year, Rob. The Sussex spinner. Right arm off. He's played 19 first-class games so far, 55 wickets, an average of 32.92, 2 5-wicket hauls, including a best 5 for 85 and 7 in a game. With the bat as well, his average isn't the best, 15.89, but he has 3 half-centuries. I think this is a very good cricketer. It's somebody I was really excited about last year. He's obviously not played so far this summer. I think it's a stress fracture. Basically every English cricketer has got a stress fracture, it feels like, at the moment. So let's just say that. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but he's coming back to fitness soon. Hopefully we'll see him again soon. And I think he deserves to be on this list on potential, but also he did perform very, very well last year.
Yeah, he does. I've got him above league average as a spinner. His strike rate 107 on the list is exceptional. That's a strike rate of 64.37, 52 wickets at 32 in the county championship. I like it. I like the control he gives. He goes at league average 3.01 economy rate, 7 3-fers, 2 4-fers, 2 5-fers, Rich. That's someone that's always chipping in around, making sure he's adding value to the team. In fact, incredibly, in the games that he's played, in the innings that he's bowled, he's taken 23% of the wickets. So it's not so much going he's chipping in. He's kind of leading the way a lot of the time for a young spinner, and that's really, really hard to do. In fact, there's only 3 people on this list that take a higher percentage of the team wickets than him, and he's 21. Interesting enough, ball in Ireland as well. So, if it never works out getting a gig for England, I'm sure there's Test cricket going to be available for him.
Yeah. Well, that opens up a big old can of worms because he's born in Northern Ireland. So
Oh,
which
don't
way
go
is
there,
it?
Bobby. Don't go there, Bobby. Go back to drinking your tea bag that's been in there for 2 hours.
Exactly. Right, next on the list, Rob, number 5. This might be a bit controversial, or am I selling a dummy? We've got a Parkinson, Rob.
Yep.
What? How can you have Matt Parkinson at 5? He should be at number 1. No, it's Callum Parkinson. Twin brother, Callum Parkinson. Do you know how old I was when I realised Callum Parkinson was Matt Parkinson's twin brother and he wasn't about 5 years older?
Today he is old. Today.
Now,
Oh, wow.
2nd years old. I obviously knew his brother, but I'll be honest with you. I thought Callum Parkinson was a couple of years older. Don't know why. Just one of those weird little perceptions. But twin brother Callum Parkinson.
Yeah, they look quite similar.
Well, they are brothers, Rob. That's what happens with genes. You can have identical twins and non-identical twins. Let's not get into that one. That's for the genealogy podcast or whatever that might be. Right, Callum Parkinson, slow left arm at Leicestershire, key player for them. 47 first-class appearances, 116 wickets, average of 38.28. 4 5-wicket hauls and 2 10-wicket matches with a best of 10 for 108. With the bat, he's averaging 20. He's got 150. That's pretty good. If you've only got 150, it means your average has not been inflated. It means he's a batsman that averages 20 because that's about the scores he gets, if that makes sense. I think this is a really good shout. I think you do see and hear from notable people occasionally talking about, Matt Parkinson is really good, but Callum Parkinson is also a very good player. And I'm not saying this is exactly right, but I wonder how the perceptions would be if Callum Parkinson and Matt Parkinson were playing at the opposite counties. Would Callum Parkinson be getting more love? I'm sure Matt would still be getting the love, but would Callum Parkinson be getting a little bit more love?
Interesting. Today is old that you worked out that they were twins. I love that.
What? They're brothers. I don't look too deeply into their family tree.
Really? I've been on Ancestry finding everything. I'm joking. I am actually joking. Parkinson's great, and he's doing it in a really bad team. And that's sometimes what makes someone stand out for me, is if they're kind of the best bowler in a bad team, how good could they be in a good team? Imagine what Brian Lara would have averaged in a better team. You go through these theories. 75 wickets since 2019 Kent Championship, an average of 32 is brilliant. 24% of the team's wickets in that time, going at a strike rate of 63, which is better. Almost 2 wickets per innings, which is exceptional, which puts him third on this list of spinners. And his economy rate is just about on league average. So he does so many things well in a really poor unit. He's got plenty of time on his side. I'm glad you mentioned his bat, because his bat is pretty good for county championship cricket. For a guy that's batting at 9 or 10, you could hope if they played test cricket, they might average you 15 or something along those lines, maybe even a sneaky 18 at times. But really good cricketer, does a lot well. I ranked him as the 13th best spinner in the country across purely on performance numbers, from including overseas players and things like that. So Simon Harmer, hey, he's doing fantastic from that 2019 to 2022 period. So Parkinson's great. Yeah, the lesser of 2 twins, but hell of a cricketer. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a move for him sometime in the future to develop him as a cricketer, to find different coaches to work with, maybe to play at a different ground. And maybe a more fashionable county to try and push for some honours at some stage.
Yeah, boost the profile. I think it's sad that we have to do that, but that just seems inevitable with the way people see certain counties, isn't it, in county cricket? Number 4, a player that I'm a big fan of, like Carson, young bowler, Amar Virdi. Now he's 23, so he's pushing 24 this summer. July born, Chiswick boy. Good man. Sorry, Chiswick. I used to play cricket for Polytechnic of Chiswick, the George on Chiswick High Street. What a pub. Really good player. 39 first-class appearances, 119 wickets, an average of 29.55. A best match figures, Rob, of 14 for 139. 5 wicket hauls to go along with that. He's a number 11. I think that's a polite way of putting it. 8.75 average, 210 runs so far in 48 innings. No 50s, unsurprisingly. Very, very talented player. Right arm off spin player. I think this is the sort of player that we should be targeting for England. Leach is doing good. We've got another man on this list, obviously, the other Parkinson. But Amar Virdi should not be far behind in the conversation of the England spinner.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Purely based on these performance plus numbers of averages, economy rate, strike rate, 6th best spinner in the country, including overseas players since the start of 2019. 73 wickets at 27 is absolutely exceptional. Takes 27% of the team's wickets. He's a wicket taker. That's important as a spinner, not just the holding role. You're looking to take wickets. And this is incredible. He's got a bowling strike rate of 50. Think of where he plays his cricket, the team he plays for, and the team strike rate during those games is 68. So he's 18 balls better than the team average for taking wickets in the innings that he's been involved in. Not just their innings, but the games that he's specifically involved in. The difference of that is 18. That's the second best on this list. Actually, Jack Carson's got the best one. He's got about a 32 difference between how his team perform and how he performs. 2.28 wickets per innings during this time. puts him second on the list behind someone that's going to come up very shortly. And 4 fifers, Rich. 4 fifers during this time. Wicket taker. Just a wicket taker, but with good enough control, excellent strike rate, superb average, just huge ceiling for him. You just want to see him play more cricket. That's the only thing it comes back to a lot of spinners is you want to see them play more cricket. And if we have summers like we've done this year with good pitches where batsmen can do well, there's going to be a need for spinners playing in that April-May period getting better cricket.
Yeah, I mean, I might be wrong. I'm assuming he's had a bit of an injury at the start of this summer. He is playing against, they're playing against the Sri Lankan touring side. I think it's like developing Sri Lanka players. It's not their full side, obviously, but he is playing in that one. He's got some wickets. He's an exceptional talent. And I just think we need to just forget a little bit about what bowlers can do with the bat and what can bowlers do with the ball. We need to take 20 wickets in Test match cricket to win games of cricket. We talk about England picking bowlers with their batting because that's what they've done over the years. It's simple as that, isn't it? How many times have we seen players in there because they can bat at 8 or 9 and they give them the tail a bit more balance? We need to forget, Matt Parkinson is going to fall under this one as well. He's not much of a batsman, but you have to get the best spinner in there at some point to see what those boys can do. At the other end of the spectrum, really, Dom Bess is one of those players that I think is he's next on the list at 3. I think rightly so. I think he's still a very, very talented cricketer. But I think he's been more on this list with England because he can bat a bit. I think that's why he's got himself ahead of Parkinson, for example, in the Test appearances he has made. And he's made 14 of them, Rob, so far. He's got 36 wickets in those 14 appearances, an average of 33.97 with a best of 5 for 30, 2 5-wicket hauls. With the bat, 319 runs so far, high score of 57. That's his 150, averaging of 22.78. So he's done okay. He's going to be another one. He's pushing 25 this summer. He's another July boy. Only 4 days between him and Amar Virdi, by the look of it, birthdays. So he rightly deserves to be on this list. I like him as a cricketer, but I don't think he should have had maybe as much cricket for England in the Test side as he has had so far. I feel like a Parkinson or a Virdi should have had some of those opportunities.
It's such a strange thing England have done with spinners, right? Oh, we want Best because he can bat a bit more, but then we don't like his spin, so we'll bring Leach in, but then we don't like what he does, so we're just going to chop and change them and treat both of them badly over a period of time.
Yeah, very fair.
Best did pick up that fifer. I think it was either in India or Sri Lanka. He picked up a fifer of bowling balls halfway down in full tosses, and everyone's taking the mick out of him. Actually, in County Championship cricket, he's got great control. 2.39 economy rate from 903 overs. That is a very good take a shot body of work to say that he's got good control. So I don't know why it's going awry when he's playing Test cricket, when he's bowling halfway down and full toss is thrown into the mixer. The thing that lets him down really in County Championship cricket over the last 3.5 years is his strike rate, and it's the opposite to Amar Virdi. Amar Virdi, out of everyone we've spoken about, the best strike rate on this list. Dom Bess is the worst. He takes a wicket every 82.11 balls, which is 15% worse than league average for a spinner. And that really weighs him down because his economy rate is really good and his average is subsequently really good because he's got control. He's not getting smashed around the park, takes 16% of the team wickets, 3 fifers thrown into it. But I think this is it. Like you see some of these other bowlers, Mason Crane, there's 8 times he's taken 3 wickets. Callum Parkinson, 7 3-wicket hauls. Jack Carson, 7 3-wicket hauls. Dom Bess, 3 3-wicket hauls, 2 4-wicket hauls, and 3 fifers. There's not enough consistency of taking wickets as a spinner for me that would go frontline spinner. I can see England playing him because of his bat in overseas tests where they need to get a second spinner into the team. But as a frontline spinner, I just can't quite see it at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're fairly summing up there, mate, with him as well. The likes of Patterson White, he takes wickets as well. He takes his fifers, doesn't he? This is the thing. Yeah. Bess, I don't think Bess is going to scare you on the 5th day. He's not. I don't feel like he's going to bowl a Test side out on the 5th day, where I think Parkinson, a Virdi, and even a Jack Leach could potentially do on occasion. But Bess just doesn't seem to grab me that he's going to do that. But I do like him as a cricketer. I love the fact that his whites are always dirty. It makes me think of so many club cricketers, Rob Taylor, as I'm looking at you, always with the dirty whites. Right,
I didn't always have dirty whites. I was that guy that got my whites clean first game of the season when my parents had washed them. and they would stay in my bag week in, week out, and I'll keep pulling them out and pulling them out. And I'd also have to borrow someone else's box because I just wouldn't buy a box for the season.
Disgusting.
Great
Right.
teammate.
Right. Number 2. I think most people who have been in touch with us over the last few months will be saying this man should be number 1, but he's not yet. So Matt Parkinson, he's the same age as Callum Parkinson. Did you know that, Rob?
Today, years old, I worked that out.
Right. I want to know who came first, though, Rob. If you can tell me that, I will be impressed. Right. Matt Parkinson, he's got 5 ODIs, 4 T20 internationals to his name so far. So he has got some England recognition, but nowhere near enough. First class record, 37 games, 127 wickets at an average of 23.84, economy of 2.65, 7 for 126 innings best, 10 for 165 in a match. That's his best figures so far. With the bat, again, as we said about Amar Virdi, he's a number 11. He's got 9.3 average, a top score of 21, not out. Not much to write home about, but I think it's safe to say, without looking too much at Jack Leach, we just want to see Matt Parkinson given an opportunity in Test match cricket to see what he can do. Virdi, Bess, and Parkinson, and Callum Parkinson, surprisingly enough, they're all relatively young. They're all 23, 24, 25. But they're not young. They should be playing. They're not kids anymore. Rayan Ahmed, I can understand you're not picking him for Test side yet. He's played one first-class game. He's 17. These guys are all of ages where they should be playing Test match cricket. What are we waiting for? I genuinely don't understand what we're waiting for. As much as I like Jack Leach, Parkinson, get him in ASAP. We want to see what he can do.
You know what will probably happen as well, right? We'll go on a winter tour somewhere, and I don't know where we're wintering this year. I can't remember off the top of my head. Jack Leach will play, and Don Bess will come in, and Matt Parkinson will carry the drinks for the whole tour, and all the England fans will be throwing the season tickets into the River Trent. Oh no, sports fans. Maybe not this year though. Right.
Shut up.
Parkinson and Leach, right? And then everyone else. That is it. These guys are so much better and so much more consistent than anyone else. Anyone on this list, any of the honourable mentions, they are just worlds apart. Matt Parkinson's record averages 21 with the ball in County Championship cricket over the last 3 years. 79 wickets is the most for an English spinner during that time. It's incredible. A bowling strike rate of 54. He takes 28% of his team's wickets, meaning he's an attacking bowler that's trying to win you the game. Is number 1 on this list. 2.55 wickets per innings. That's an insanely high number. That's number 1 on this list. 11 3-fers, 4 4-fers, 2 5-fers. I don't mind there's 2 5-fers. There's 11 3-fers during this time, and he has played less cricket than Amar Virdi during this time, or he's bowled less innings than those guys, probably because they're winning games. He's bowled less innings than Mason Crane during this time. His record is just so far superior. I've given him a performance plus of 419, which is the greatest on this list. And there's such comparables to Jack Leach. Jack Leach, for pound, is the second best bowler on this list because they're both so much better than anyone else. And that's why they're in England conversation. What the big difference that I see is that Parkinson's a more attacking option. That's the only difference. And we've seen, getting into Jack Leach, which we'll touch on, Jack Leach struggles in the first innings of Test match cricket and averages 50-odd. Parkinson might pick you up 1 or 2 wickets during that time.
Absolutely. So let's get on to Jack Leach. Let's wrap this list up then. I think it's a promising list again. I think it's great to see there are young players on there. There's some senior players at the back end, but there are young players that I think will ascend and move up this list as we move into the next year or so. But Jack Leach, he's 30 years old, nearly 31 actually. Birthday coming up very soon in a month's time. Matthew Jack Leach is his full name, just in case anyone doesn't realise. So we should start calling him Matthew Leach. I don't know what that story is there, but anyway, let's not worry about it. Right, Test record, 22 appearances, Rob, 79 wickets, an average of 31.88. That sounds okay. 5 for 83 is best figures, 8 for 153 in the game. With the bat, obviously, this record won't see everything. 14.5 average, but a high score of 92. That's that 150. But he can hang around. He can do the dirty work. I don't want to steal your thunder here, Rob, but I will just quickly break down that average. 29 wickets in first innings, an average of 51.86. That's what you were talking about. Second innings, though, 50 wickets at 20.3.
Brilliant.
Firstly, why is it so no different? Why can't he extract anything in the first innings? And those records have to be closer, surely.
Yeah.
And he's just a steady player. I think he's that sort of your 6 and 7 out of 10 sort of player, isn't he?
Yeah.
But you're never going to swing for that 8, 9, or 10 out of 10, which somebody else might be. So I do understand why they want to persevere with Jack Leach. I don't think Jack Leach personally has done anything wrong. When we're talking about Parkinson coming in, he's doing okay. He's doing a job, isn't he? I think that's a nice way of saying it. I think we should appreciate Jack Leach, but it doesn't really wow you as a player or a performer.
Yeah, maybe being a bit harsh, but at county level, like I said,
but he's steady.
Parkinson and Leach are just worlds apart from anyone else on this list in terms of performance. He takes 20% of his team wickets, a 58.5 strike rate. Parkinson's was 54. 1.74 wickets per innings. Again, I haven't got the breakdown here of first innings, second innings in county cricket, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's something similar going on. The thing that he's got 4 5-wicket hauls during that time again, which are probably around bowling in the second innings. He's bowled in 7 more innings than Parkinson as well. But I actually rate Parkinson on the Performance Plus scale. I give Jack Leach 400, Matt Parkinson 419, and that is the strike rate difference that he's bowling at. But average, Parkinson's is better. 2.31 for Leach, 2.34 for Parkinson, and strike rate, Parkinson is obviously better. Jack Leach is an exceptional cricketer. He's a very good second innings test cricketer.
Yeah.
But that first innings average of 50 isn't going to cut it, just like Chris Wokes isn't going to cut it averaging 50 overseas. It's got to be better. And, left armers, they're going to lick the lips. They're going to see the pitch get worn out by bowlers coming through on the follow-through and give them more opportunities. But you've got to be able to take some wickets in that first innings. And that adds to England's woes with not being able to win games of cricket when you've got an attacking spin option for only 1/4 of a 4-innings game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I like Jack Leach. You like Jack Leach. We all like Jack Leach. He's steady. And to actually have a steady test spinner is not a bad thing. It's a really good place to be in many respects, especially if you haven't got that player coming through that is a world beater that we didn't have for a while. But I think we potentially could have if given the opportunity. But Jack Leach absolutely deserved all the opportunities he's been given. 368 first-class wickets, an average of 26.83, 23 5-wicket hauls, and 3 10-wicket matches, 12 for 102 best figures in a game. Outstanding, exceptional player. County, brilliant. Test, steady, decent, good.
Steady.
All those words.
Steady.
And that's it. And that's I think that's the thing. If we didn't have Parkinson coming, I think we'd be a lot higher on Leach and we'd appreciate him more. But we just want to see the shiny new toy. And we want to chuck that. A bit like you with TikTok, Rob. Little drop in there. Rob's been playing with TikTok, if anyone wants to have a look on that. Very, very interesting. I'm obviously not on it.
TikTok notifications coming through constantly.
Yeah, loving it. So, Leach, great. I want to see him do really well. And I want to see what he does under this new setup. He's there in the squad for the first 2 tests. Matt Parkinson is not in the squad for the first 2 tests. Jack Leach will be the spinner, assuming they pick a spinner and not just go with Joe Root. Can he do it? Can he kind of up his game a little bit? Can those first innings opportunities propel him forward and suddenly go, actually, Leach is a bit more than what we thought he was? Can Ben Stokes get a little bit more out of him? Can he be a bit more attacking with him than Root was? Don't know. But he's got that opportunity. And I think by the 3rd test of this summer, we're going to be very clear in our minds. And I think the England setup will be very clear in their minds of which direction they're going to be going in.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time. I'm trying to think if I can ever remember one where we've had a genuine battle for a spinner slot in England. Because Leach is passable as a test cricketer at the moment based on those stats. He's not setting the world alight. You can see why someone wants something different. But if Matt Parkinson wasn't on this list, there's a lot of stretches to try and find a ready-made spinner to come in, and we've got one. And that creates a really good conversation. And it might bring the best out of both of them, or it might get to that point where one just pulls away from the other. And I don't mind who it is. It'll be so good to see England with a world-class spinner. Because in my lifetime watching England, there's been Swan. And I don't think there's really anyone I'm going to put in there. When I was watching cricket, 1990s coming through, John Embry was still playing for England in that time. So, it was kind of, we've never really had a world-class spinner.
No.
Tufnell was great in moments, don't get me wrong. He was great in moments, but he wasn't world-class, whereas Swan was, pound for pound, the best spinner in the world. Definitely the best off-spinner in the world. So it's quite interesting. Rich, there's one guy, and we've not given him an honourable mention, but there's one guy on this list, and you're going to pop this. You're going to love it. Right, so doing the list, and over since 2019 to 2022, got to have taken 30 wickets in county cricket. Okay? And they've got to have a performance plus of 300, which means their average, the economy and strike rate, all is league average. And he's not playing county cricket anymore.
Wonder who this could be.
25 innings that he's bowled in. 94 maidens, 32 wickets, an average of 33, a bowling strike rate of 74, takes 16% of team wickets, 4 3-fers. And this is you're going to be like, oh, it might be this guy, it might be that guy. And I'm going to tell you, he's still playing T20 cricket and opens the bowling.
Well, could it be Adil Rashid?
No. And he does commentary as well.
Okay, you'll have to tell me because I wanted to finish on Adil Rashid, so I've just spoiled that bit. But never mind.
He's prime time.
Oh, Prime Time Patel.
Prime Time Patel, sneaky. I was just filtering the data, and there he is with a 305 performance plus 32 wickets during that time. I think he's retired from first class cricket, but he's definitely in the commentary booth with Brace these days.
Yeah, occasionally. Yeah, absolutely. Sam Patel. We spoke about this with the all-rounders, didn't we? How the heck that he didn't get more international recognition, I will never know. So it's great that we get a crowbar of Samit Patel mentioned in here. He'd still do a job, no matter what team he's playing for. But I did want to finish off. There's one player that we hadn't talked about. Moeen Ali, obviously, he's no longer playing Test cricket, so that's why he's not on the list of anyone else. But Adil Rashid, will he, won't he? Will he want to play red ball cricket again, Rob? Will he want to play Test cricket again? He's 34. What more can you say about him? Did you know his nicknames are Dilly or Hoover? I did not know that.
I do now.
Dilly makes sense. Hoover, I don't want to go into that. 19 Test matches, 60 wickets, Rob, 39.83 average, not exactly what you want. Best of 5 for 49. Batting, pretty good. Averages in his teens in most, fair few formats. But a good play. He can bat in probably 8 at a push. If he decided that he wanted to play Test cricket again, I think this list suddenly changes. I think because he's at the back end of his career, there's no point really bumping him too far down. But at the same time, I don't think it'd be fair if Parkinson was picked behind him. So Rashid suddenly gives you a heck of a... I suppose Rashid would be that player that instead of Best coming in as a second spinner, you could have Rashid as your second spinner alongside somebody else. Perhaps. It's a difficult one, isn't it? But it'd be interesting, a really interesting conversation if suddenly Hoover Rashid, Dilly Rashid was actually thrown into the mix.
Hoover, I'd love to know where that nickname came from, to be fair. Where did the nickname Hoover come from?
Someone tell us.
Would it take it? He's 34, mate. He came back in 2018, I want to say it was, and got some cricket as part of, hey, we need a spinner.
Yep.
He's not played any red ball cricket since then. You never know because he's not IPL bound. White ball stuff seems to be drying up for him in a little bit, but that might be temporary because I think he'll have another good World Cup for England this year and he'll be back in the franchise leagues doing his thing, earning more money. I don't really know how much he enjoyed playing red ball cricket. He didn't play it with a big smile on his face, where when I see him play T20 cricket, it looks like he gets a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Don't know. I wouldn't. I would want to look to the future. He's 34.
Fair.
I would prefer to see Leach, Parkinson, Amar Virdi, those sorts of guys going forward. But it does beg the question of how have we let the best spinner we've had since Graham Swan not really play any red ball cricket during the last 10 years. Strange
times, strange questions. Who knows? But it does certainly change that list a little bit, doesn't it? But we are in the world of Leach versus Parkinson. It's like Oasis Blur all over again. Which side are you on? But yeah, I think that's a good list. Again, we've got one more list to go through, unless we break them down into two. I think we need to do the seamers as maybe a big list, perhaps. But that's one more category that we need to get through. And then that's the
perfect time
wrapped up for
especially
now.
with the Black Caps. Yeah, Black Caps keeps Black Caps England start 2nd of June, so we'll have that podcast out next week. And then essentially we've created the depth shot, and then we probably best revisit because it's probably completely screwed with people scoring runs and not getting picked. But yeah, good times, Rich. Always happy to do an England Watch podcast. Like we said, we've got the Buy Me a Coffee thing open, and thanks to the guys that bought us one already. Apologies for the fingernail paint on the nails. We mentioned that in yesterday's podcast. If you're watching this one thinking, why has he got fingernail polish? It was my little girl's 4th birthday, and she got a makeup kit. So hence, Daddy, can I do your makeup? And Daddy going, oh yeah, I'd love to. That's great. And then going to work today and forgetting about it. Excellent. Good times. But thank you so much for watching. We will catch you back. Don't think we'll be back for a third podcast this week. It should be pretty quiet leading up to the test matches, but next week
T20 blast.
T20, we will be back. It's T20 blast time, so we're going to try and get that bad boy out. It might even be out before this one, given when it starts on Wednesday. And then the following week, we're into the test match, and it's Black Caps versus England preview. So have a great week. We'll catch you very soon.